Tonight, I'm here to talk to you about none of the above. You know how it is around election time and you decide not to vote because the two candidates are so repulsive. Repulsive's not the word. We're all full of shit. I never wear a suit and a tie. Never. I mean, these are just things that politicians use to trick you into thinking that they're respectable. Well, to the politician, huh?
So that was a clip from the movie Brewster's Millions, and I'm using it just as a fun way to introduce an idea, that idea being none of the above. And by that specifically, what I mean is that a campaign be started to encourage people next time they go to the polls to, instead of voting for any of the options that are on there, to draw an additional option, none of the above, put a little box next to it, tick the little box, and stick that in the ballot box. And I mean this not merely as a protest vote. There's very much more to it than that. And I'm going to make a short series of videos, probably 4 of them in total, to unpack this in full. So this is the introductory one. And for this one, I really just want to put the idea out there and very briefly touch on some of the things I'm going to explore in more detail in the future videos. And so the overarching point of none of the above is to create a space in which an inclusive, wide-ranging, free discussion can occur, in which new methodologies, new philosophies, new principles for organizing ourselves can be looked at and can be tried out on small scales, and experiments can be run, and so on and so on and so on, because within the current framework of unbelievably limited political debate, if you can even call it that, there is no possibility of meaningful and constructive solutions to the problems that face us emerging. So that's the overarching point. And then within that, there are, I guess, 3 sub-themes. The first of those is fractiousness and disunity. I mean, we see it everywhere we look. I'm personally part of the resource-based economics movement, part of the activist community. And, even within that, people who are all on the same team find little things to argue about, primarily, I think, out of a sense of frustration. But the point is that the simplicity of none of the above, it wouldn't conflict with anything that anyone else is doing, other activists, other change makers, whatever it is they are personally interested in seeking to change, none of the above can run alongside that. The second part of it would be a recognition that our systems are incapable of coming up with solutions to problems which they themselves have caused. And again, I'll go into this more, but again, it comes back to clearing a space. If the current structures, institutions, thought processes are incapable of solving the problems, then we need to clear them out of the way in order to make room for the kinds of thought processes and procedures and so on that have some chance of solving the problems. And the third part of it is about reclaiming sovereignty, reclaiming our power as the electorate, as the people, as individuals as well. And so what a widespread none of the above campaign could potentially achieve, if 51% of people vote none of the above, this effectively withdraws the consent of the people for the government to govern them, right? And it's once again an acknowledgement that we need a space to come up with things which are different, to come up with things which are better, to come up with things that nobody has yet thought of, but have no chance of thinking of, or at least the ideas have no chance of gaining any traction within the current framework. So it's a recognition of all of those things at once. So I guess that's really all I have to say for now. I'm just going to leave you with a clip from a speech that JFK gave some 55 years ago, which I think is apropos. But thank you for listening.
Our problems are man-made, therefore they can be solved by man. And man can be as big as he wants. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Man's reason and spirit have often solved the seemingly unsolvable, and we believe they can do it again. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures, and we are all mortal.
The only thing that's silly is the power of the people's vote. And I think the people should use it to vote for... Say it again! Let me hear it one more time!